Hello everyone, I welcome you in the video lecture on the design of pressure vessel part 2. So first of all, we'll see the content. So first, thickness of cylindrical shell, thickness of spherical shell, corrosion alarms in the pressure vessel, thickness of end closures used in the pressure vessel. So these are the four major contents of today's video lecture. So first of all, we'll have the quick review of the last lecture because it is required in this lecture. So first, we have seen this diagram in the last lecture. This is the diagram of thin cylinder which is subjected to internal pressure having inside diameter di, thickness t. So this is a thin cylinder subjected to internal pressure. Now we have seen the stresses in the thin cylinder. There were two stresses. One is the tangential or circumferential or hoop stress, and another was the longitudinal stress. And also we have seen that the value of tangential stress is more than the longitudinal stress. So there is a more chance of failure of this thin cylinder due to tangential stress or hoop stress. So we have to consider the hoop stress or tangential stress to find out the thickness of this thin cylinder. So the circumferential or tangential or hoop stress in the thin cylinder is given by equation sigma t is equal to pi di upon 2t. So as I said, as the value of this tangential stress is more than the longitudinal stress, so we have to consider this tangential stress to design this thin cylinder, that is to find out the thickness. So we can rearrange this equation to get the value of thickness of thin cylinder. So this equation becomes pi di upon 2. So this equation gives the thickness of this thin cylinder. Now similarly we can derive the equation of thickness or equation of this tangential stress for this thin spherical vessel. So here I have shown the spherical vessel, thin spherical vessel, which is subjected to internal pressure Pi, having internal diameter di and thickness t. So similarly, similar to this thin cylinder, we can derive the equation of tangential stress. So the circumferential or tangential or hoop stress for thin spherical vessel is given by equation sigma t is equal to pi di upon 4t. Actually, we have not derived this equation in the last lecture, but we can derive it on the basis of similar to thin cylinder. So this equation is sigma t is equal to pi di upon 4t. Now we can rearrange this equation to get the thickness of this thin spherical vessel. So thickness t is equal to pi di upon 4t. Now this is the equation of thin cylinder thickness. This is the equation of thin spherical vessel thickness. Now we have to use these two equations to find out the thickness of cylindrical shell and spherical shell. Now the question is that can we apply this equation of thin cylinder and equation of thin spherical vessel to find out the thickness of cylindrical shell and spherical shell? So that answer of that question we have to see in the next part. So consider this is a cylindrical shell and the shell is this cylindrical shell or pressure vessel is shown in this picture. So as you see here, this pressure vessel is not made up from a single plate. It is made up from a large number of plates which are bent and welded together to form this pressure vessel. And these are the elements of this pressure vessel. So here you can see that this is the shell, this is the head. Again here it is head is written. So this generally at ends the head is written. It is nothing but the closure head which closes the pressure vessel from the both the ends. This is the manway or manhole, and this is the support. So as we can see here, this pressure vessel is formed by large number of plates welded together. So obviously the size of this pressure vessel is large. So as the size is large, its inner diameter is also large as compared to thickness, and hence we can consider this cylindrical shell as a thin cylinder. So we can apply the equation of thin cylinder to this cylindrical shell. So we can say that the equation of this thickness of cylindrical shell is based on the theory of thin cylinder, and therefore the thickness of cylindrical shell is T Cs is equal to pi di upon twice sigma t eta minus pi plus Ca. Now if you observe this equation carefully, this pi di upon twice t is the equation of thin cylinder. Pi di upon twice t is the equation of thin cylinder. But we have considered the additional parameter, that is eta, that is efficiency, pi, subtracted from the denominator, and we have additionally added the Ca, that is corrosion allowance. So I am going to explain one by one. So this efficiency of weld joint is considered because as we know that this is not made up from a single plate, it is made from number of plates and these are joined by welding process. So weld joint efficiency must be considered. Again, we have subtracted here internal pressure Pi from the denominator. Now this pressure is subtracted from the denominator due to the reason that as this size of pressure vessel is large, so the pressure inside the pressure vessel is also large. So it may cause the plastic deformation of this shell. And in order to consider the plastic deformation possibility of this pressure vessel, we have to add the thickness than the required. So if we subtract the Pi from the denominator, obviously this denominator value will reduce, and if the denominator value will reduce, thickness will automatically increase. So this Pi is subtracted from the denominator to account for plastic deformation of pressure vessel. Then this Ca, that is corrosion allowance, is added as this pressure vessel may be used for chemical different types of chemicals or different types of fluids which may cause the corrosion to this pressure vessel. So if the corrosion takes place, the thickness of pressure vessel will go on decreasing by the time. So in order to consider that effect, we have to add some additional thickness to the required thickness. So this is the equation of thickness of cylindrical shell. So let us consider the parameters used in this equation, where TCS is the thickness of cylindrical shell, Pi is the design pressure. Now here design pressure is mentioned. I have not mentioned here inside pressure. So inside pressure will be different. It is lower than the design pressure. Suppose the inside pressure is 1 megapascal, then the design pressure has to be more than that inside pressure, because we cannot design the pressure vessel at an actual pressure. If you design the pressure vessel at actual pressure and by some chance, if the pressure inside the pressure vessel increases than the actual pressure, then pressure vessel may fail. So in order to consider that chance, we have to consider the additional pressure. We have to design the pressure vessel by taking the additional pressure. So this design pressure is more than the actual pressure inside the pressure vessel. So it is in megapascal. Then Di, inner diameter of the shell, in mm. Sigma T, allowable stress for the plate material. It is given by SYT upon 1.5 for a ductile material. For brittle material, it is SUT upon 3. Eta, as I said, it is a weld joint efficiency. And Ca, that is corrosion allowance in mm. So this is about the thickness of cylindrical shell. Similarly, look at this diagram. This is the spherical shell. Now this spherical shell is also made up from large number of plates welded together. So as this is made up from large number of plates, so it is obvious that its size is more. If its size is more, its inner diameter is very large as compared to thickness, so we can consider this as a thin spherical vessel. So we can use the equation of thickness of thin spherical vessel to this spherical shell, and therefore we can say that the equation of this thickness of spherical shell is based on the theory of thin spherical vessel. Thickness of spherical shell is given by equation TSS, spherical shell thickness, is equal to Pi di upon 4 sigma T eta minus Pi plus Ca. Again here this Pi di upon 4 sigma T is the equation of thin spherical shell, but we have little bit modified with our by considering our this spherical shell. So as weld joint is used, its efficiency must be considered. Then Pi must be subtracted from the denominator so that this denominator value will decrease and thickness will increase. And already I have explained, we have to subtract this Pi to consider the plastic deformation possibility of this spherical shell because of the high internal pressure. Then corrosion allowance we have to add in order to account for the corrosion of wall of spherical shell. Parameters used in this equation: TSS, thickness of spherical shell; Pi, design pressure, which is obviously more than the actual internal pressure; Di, inner diameter of the shell; sigma T, allowable stress for the plate material; sigma T for ductile material it is SYT upon 1.5, brittle material it is SUT upon 3. Here this 1.5 is the factor of safety for ductile material and this 3 is the factor of safety for brittle material. Eta belt joint efficiency, Ca corrosion allowance. So this is the equation of thickness of spherical shell. So we have just written here the equation of thickness of a cylindrical shell as well as spherical shell, and these equations are nothing but the modifications of thin cylinder and thin spherical vessel. So next we'll see the corrosion allowance in the pressure vessel. So why this corrosion allowance is considered? As we know that these pressure vessels may be used to store the chemicals or certain fluids which may cause the corrosion. And due to corrosion, the thickness of pressure vessel will decrease by the time due to corrosion, and hence its life will reduce. So we must consider this phenomenon. We must consider this possibility of reducing the thickness by corrosion. So we have to add certain value to the required thickness. Let us say 1.5 mm. So we have to add this additional material to the required thickness so that this corrosion, the effect of corrosion can be minimized. So though the thickness will reduce due to corrosion, we are adding the extra material so that can be countered. The walls of the pressure vessels are subjected to thinning, that is its thickness get reduced due to corrosion, which reduces the useful life of vessel. The corrosion in the pressure vessel is of the following forms. So there are different types of corrosion that may takes place in the pressure vessel. First is the chemical attack, where the metal is dissolved. Because of the chemicals present in the pressure vessel, the metal inside surface metal may get dissolved, and which reduces the thickness of pressure vessel. Second is the rusting due to air moisture. So this is the common type of corrosion, that is rusting. It is takes place due to air and moisture, which also reduces the thickness of pressure vessel. Erosion. It is because of the high velocity reagent flowing over the surface of pressure vessel. So if the fluid which is stored inside the pressure vessel, if it flows at high velocities on the surface of pressure vessel, then erosion takes place, and which also cause the reducing the thickness of pressure vessel. Next is the scaling. Now many times these pressure vessels are used at the high temperature, and we know that at high temperature the rate of oxidation is more. That is, the inner surface of that pressure vessel reacts with the oxygen, and that is called as oxidation. So this rate is more in case if the temperature of pressure vessel is high. So it again causes the reducing the thickness of pressure vessel. So it is the last form of corrosion. So corrosion allowance is the additional metal thickness which is added to the required thickness, which is required to withstand the internal pressure. A minimum corrosion allowance of 1.5 mm is recommended. So this 1.5 mm we have to add into the required thickness to withstand the internal pressure. Now let us go for the next part of this lecture, that is end closures. Now these end closures are required at both the ends of pressure vessel to close the pressure vessel from the both the ends. So there are different types of these end closures. So these end closures are produced or manufactured by forming process. So first, the types of end closures. So there are two types of end closures. First is the domed heads and conical heads. So these represent the shape of end closures. If its shape is dome shape, it is called as domed heads. If its shape is conical, it is called as conical heads. Now the domed heads are again classified into three types: hemispherical, semi-ellipsoidal, and spherical. Now in the next part we have to see the thickness equations for hemispherical, semi-ellipsoidal, and toruspherical end closures. So first we'll see the thickness of hemispherical end closure. Now the diagram of hemispherical end closure is shown here, with Ri is the inside diameter of this hemispherical enclosure, or it is same that of the inside diameter of cylinder. That means the inside diameter of cylinder and inside diameter of this enclosure is same. So this is internal radius, this is internal diameter, this is outer diameter of enclosure as well as cylinder. And then this is the thickness of this hemispherical enclosure, and we have to see the equation to find out this thickness of hemispherical enclosure. So its equation is given by PIRI upon twice sigma T eta minus 0.2 Pi plus Ca. The parameters used in these equations are T thickness of hemispherical enclosure, Pi design pressure, Ri inner radius of cylindrical shell or inner radius of this hemispherical enclosure. Sigma T allowable stress, it is SYT upon 1.5 for ductile, SUT upon 3 for brittle, eta bell joint efficiency, and Ca corrosion tolerance. So this enclosure has the shape of hemispherical. So its depth is more from this reference line. So along this line we have to join the cylinder to this enclosure by welding process, and from this reference line this depth is more for the hemispherical enclosure. Now next, thickness of semi-ellipsoidal enclosure. So this enclosure has the shape of semi-ellipsoidal. So let us look at the dimensions. Di is the inner diameter, Do outer diameter, T thickness, and this SF is the straight side distance of this semi-ellipsoidal enclosure. So this much portion is straight and then it is having semi-ellipsoidal shape. So thickness of this enclosure is given by equation PIDI upon twice sigma T eta minus 0.2 Pi plus Ca. So let us look at the parameters used in this equation. First, T thickness of this is the thickness of semi-ellipsoidal enclosure. So this is the thickness of semi-ellipsoidal enclosure. And then Pi design pressure, Di inner diameter, sigma T allowable stress, its values for ductile material, brittle material, eta bell joint efficiency, Ca corrosion allowance, and SF is a straight side distance. It is equal to 3 times thickness of this semi-ellipsoidal enclosure or 20 mm, whichever is more. So this is the thickness of semi-ellipsoidal enclosure. Now next, thickness of torus spherical enclosure. So this is the torus spherical enclosure shape. This inner diameter, outer diameter is same. SF straight side distance in the enclosure. Now if you look at this torus spherical enclosure, it has two radius of curvature. That is, this curved surface has two radius of curvature. In this region, the radius of curvature is Ri. It is called as knuckle radius. And from this region to this region, the radius of curvature is L. That is called as crown radius. And this is the thickness of this torus spherical enclosure. Now its equation is given by T is equal to 0.885 PIL upon sigma T eta minus 0.1 Pi plus Ca. And the parameters in this equation are T thickness of torus spherical enclosure, Pi design pressure, L inside crown radius, Ri inside knuckle radius. The relation between knuckle radius Ri and crown radius L is given by Ri is equal to 0.06 into L. Sigma T allowable stress for ductile material, for brittle material, eta bell joint efficiency, Ca corrosion allowance, SF is equal to thrice T or 20 mm, which is more. So if you consider the previous two enclosures, the thickness of depth of this enclosure with respect to this reference line is less. So this is the compact type of enclosure as compared to previous two types. Then the important points about the enclosure. So first is hemispherical enclosure. The minimum plate thickness, minimum weight, and hence lowest material cost. The thickness of this enclosure is minimum as compared to remaining two types. So minimum thickness, thus minimum weight, and thus the material cost is less. But due to this large depth from this reference line, this distance is more from this reference line, so more forming is required, hence more forming cost. Amount of forming required is more and hence increased forming cost. It is used in vertical pressure vessels. Next is the semi-ellipsoidal enclosure. Now if you compare these two enclosures, here the depth of this enclosure is reduced because of its semi-ellipsoidal shape. So this type of enclosure is compact than the hemispherical enclosure. The thickness is more as compared to this hemispherical and hence high material cost as compared to hemispherical enclosure. But due to the shallow disc shape, this its depth is shallow, so the forming cost is reduced. And again it is used in vertical pressure vessels. So both these hemispherical and semi-ellipsoidal enclosures can be used in vertical pressure vessel. And last is spherical enclosure. Less forming cost, its depth is less, so less forming cost. Chances of failure due to stress concentration. As I have explained that here there are two radius of curvature. One is here and another starts from here. So whenever the dimension changes suddenly, in that region always there will be stress concentration. So here the region is straight, but here the radius of curvature starts, so at this point the stress concentration will occur, and again here the radius of Ri will end and radius of curvature L will start from here. So this is the junction between Ri and L. So at this point again the stress concentration will occur, and which may cause the failure of pressure vessel. It is used in horizontal pressure vessels such as tankers for water, milk and petrol, diesel and kerosene due to its compact shape. So this is the most compact type of enclosure and hence we can use this in horizontal pressure vessel like this. They are also used for the small vertical pressure vessels. We can use this for small vertical pressure vessels also. So thanks for watching this video. If you have any query related to this particular lecture, you can mention in the comment section. And on this basis of this video lecture, we are going to solve the numericals in the next lecture. So thank you for watching this.